All right. Well, good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Armstrong, and I'm the president and founder of Beaky Marketing. So I'm so glad to have you with us today. We're a digital marketing firm, and I would say that we really specialize in comprehensive digital marketing strategies that we implement with businesses all around the country. And a few years ago, I was kind of sitting around and we were investing a ton of time on Facebook and Instagram because, they were the most common social media platforms. And I had kind of a duh moment when I thought to myself, this is not where my consumer is. I'm a marketing firm. My customer is a business owner. This is a B2B type of relationship. And my customer isn't spending a ton of time on Facebook and Instagram, but they are spending time on LinkedIn. And when they're on LinkedIn, they're truly thinking about business. So I said, let's switch our strategy, let's switch our focus, and really start focusing on LinkedIn. Now, some people looked at me like I was crazy because um, LinkedIn wasn't the most popular platform that there was, and there wasn't a ton of activity going on there. But it has definitely proved to be a good move for us. So we're really excited to share with you what we found over the last several years in using this platform to really generate business. So a little bit about us. Like I said, my name's Stephanie Armstrong. I'm the founder. We established Beaky in January 2016, and we really focus on social selling, which is very different from traditional advertising. We really focus on the relationship, on really providing value to the consumer and helping them to make empowered purchasing decisions. I think most of you would agree that nobody likes to be sold anymore. We've heard all the gimmicks, we've seen all the best people. We don't want to be sold anymore. We really want to be educated and empowered to make good decisions for ourselves, for our families, and for our businesses. So our approach to marketing is a little bit different than what most people have seen in the past because we really start with that relationship in mind and keep it very consumer focused. We've been using the system for a little over 3 years, and we've generated over $1 million in products and services sold with this social sales system. So we are finding that people are much more receptive to the style of sales. And I find that it makes for just better relationships because what it really does is it helps us to kind of qualify each other. If you've worked in the B2B industry for some time, then you know that not all money is good money, right? Like we need to find people that also fit our personality styles and our values so that the work that we're doing doesn't feel so painful every day either. We really want to be working with people who are in alignment with us. And I think by approaching it this way, it really helps us to find people who are a good fit for us and not just people that want to make a purchase. And from my perspective, I think that that really improves our working relationships, our collaborative efforts, and our overall quality of life, especially in the workplace. So we really believe in this style of marketing. So thinking about how LinkedIn has grown and how it's changed over the past several years, we're seeing almost 600 million total users today, and over 100 million of them are senior level influencers or decision makers. So if you've been in the B2B industry, you know that some of the hardest things to do are to get past the gatekeepers and really get to who it is that you're trying to speak to. The beautiful aspect about LinkedIn is it can really put you in contact with exactly the person that you want to speak to. And it's done in a way that it doesn't feel intrusive. It's done in a way where it really eliminates risk. As far as the other person goes, they can take a look at your profile and learn more about you and see who you're connected with and learn more about your company. So I feel like it allows us to really warm those people up quickly, because they have an opportunity to get to know us before they actually get to know us. Also, LinkedIn has become the #1 channel for B2B marketing in general, driving half of all website traffic to B2B websites from a social perspective. So it's really becoming a very powerful tool, and it's being used more and more every day. So what we've done over the last several years is we've been using this to grow our own brand and grow our own business, because I'm a firm believer that we have to test everything out on ourselves before we ever recommend it to another person. We found four really important components and aspects about leveraging this platform that really make for a successful experience using social sales on LinkedIn. The first thing is your profile presentation. So, if you think back in the times where live networking was very common and people were going to networking events a lot, your outfit and your hair and the way that you presented was really important to you. You would make sure that you showed up to those types of events really buttoned up so that you represented yourself and your business and your brand very well. Well, now those engagements really start online. So we need to make sure that our profile has the presentation that we want people to see when they engage with us. Make sure that it's really buttoned up and that it's attractive and that it's unique and that who you are really shines through it. You have to understand that people that work in the B2B industry are bombarded by sales messages all day, every day, and most of those people look and sound exactly the same. So really using your profile to make yourself stand out and putting who you really truly are on it is really important, because no one wants to think that they've met a certain person online and then meet you in real life and find out it's different. The other thing is you really want to attract people to work with that are like you. So there's no point in hiding, the things about you that make you unique and different. I think this is really a place to let that shine through, and the right people will find you. Secondly, although this is probably seems like a duh, is social networking. So a lot of people kind of get on LinkedIn and they don't actually talk to anyone. You probably heard the comments about people just being, social creepers rather than networking. The people that just log on and look at everybody else's stuff. Even by liking or commenting on other people's content, you can really start to put yourself in front of people, really start to build those relationships online first. And you can get that solid base of a relationship in so that it's obviously natural for it to continue outside of a social network. But engage with people, share content that's meaningful and important to you. And that kind of leads us to the next item, which is content promotion. Today content is king, and a lot of people ask me, what is content exactly? Content is really a multitude of different items. This could be blog articles, this could be graphics, this could be videos, any piece of content that is used to engage someone. So there's a wide variety of different subjects under here. But your content is really important, because that's going to be how you get your message out to people every day. That's how you stay in front of people every day, is the content that you share. That's going to keep you top of mind so that they're always thinking about you, because they see you every day on their timeline. Now, the really nice thing about LinkedIn is that because it wasn't one of the social networks that really blew up in the beginning, and this one has kind of taken a little bit more time to develop, you have a much larger organic reach. And what I mean by that is more people are going to see the content that you post on LinkedIn than on your other platforms, because Facebook and Instagram are so competitive, because there's so many people on there constantly sharing content that only a certain percentage of your content gets shown to your actual followers. So on LinkedIn, those numbers are much higher. And you can stay in front of your prospects and the people in your industry much easier and for much less money. And finally is really having a social sales strategy. So if you've been to any of my events or listened to me speak at all about marketing, you know that I'm always talking about strategy. Strategy is so important, because you can put out a million pieces of content, but if you don't have a clear strategy in mind, if you don't know what your goals are, and you haven't thought out, how do I get people from point A to point B, because there's almost always multiple steps involved. You have to have that strategy in place if you really want to see tangible growth and tangible results. I hear people say, oh, I've done social media and it didn't work for me. And I say, well, what was your strategy? And 10 times out of 10, they look back at me, with a blank face. They didn't have a strategy in mind. So really think about, what are my goals? Do I want people to schedule a consultation with me? Do I want people to get coffee with me? Do I want people to get on my mailing list? Do I want people to go to my website? Do I want people to come to an event? What is it that your goal is? And then we have to think of, how do we get someone who's never heard of you before to build that relationship, find value in you, and follow your strategy so that you can reach your goals in a way that's very authentic, with a ton of integrity, and is a win-win for everyone. So again, first thing is really going to be that profile presentation. So the profile really consists of 3 components. One is obviously your photo and cover photo. These are hugely important. We see that people that have those photos really nicely done, if you can have them professionally done and branded, even better. But for people that have photos in there, their profiles get much more engagement, because we're visual creatures. We love to see visuals. I think we love even more when those visuals really give us a sense of who that person is, not necessarily just, my name is Stephanie and I'm a marketer. But here's like some things about me. If you looked at my LinkedIn profile, there's a cover photo, and the quote on it says, "Well-behaved women rarely make history." And if you're around me, you know that that absolutely fits my personality. And I want people to know that before they ever do business with me. Because if you think that you're going to get a very meek and mild woman, I am not that woman. And if that is not for you, that is okay. But I'm really going to let them know that I'm a strong-willed, kind of eclectic individual, and I don't really make any apologies for that. So that's who I am, and it attracts the right people, and the wrong people that see it and don't like it don't contact me, and that's good for me. Secondly, is going to be your personal tagline. So this is going to be the item right underneath your photo, and this is going to be really important. I'm just going to pull my profile up so I can just show you exactly what I'm talking about. This right here is your tagline. And, a lot of people in here would have something like marketing specialist or president, founder. It's just that it's really easy to glaze over, right? Like, it's not very interesting. It's not very exciting. It doesn't tell me anything about who you are outside of just your profession. I've really played with this a lot over the last few years so that I can get really clear about what it is that I do. I would say that I'm definitely left and right brained. And although I'm very creative, I'm also very analytical, and I kind of want those things to really show through what I'm doing. So, I have things like intuitive communications engineer. That's much different than just saying, communications professional. I would say that that is an accurate description about what I do, but it's different, right? Like, it's not something that you just see every day. So make sure that tagline is really customized to you and fits you and kind of highlights what your special gifts or skill sets are, because they're looking at so many of these. It's going to be really important that you stand out. And finally is your profile details. So really making sure that your profile is filled out in its entirety as much as possible. Never make up any information, obviously, but I think it's really important to make sure that you've gone through your profile and you've made sure that the information here is complete and accurate as much as it possibly can be. So, your work experience is one of these items, your education, any licenses or certifications. You'll have your skills and endorsements here, which are going to come from other people, and any recommendations that you have. As well as your accomplishments. So, I'm someone who's constantly doing professional and personal development. So I just make sure every time I take a new course or a new training, I make sure that I put that in this bar so that people can see that I'm constantly growing and changing. So making sure that all of these areas are really filled out as much as possible. The first thing that's really going to engage people are going to be your photos and then your tagline. But if they want to know more, you need to make sure that they have the information that they're looking for so that they can make sure that this is someone that, yes, this is a good fit and this is someone that I want to work with. Social networking. So engaging with your network, this does require a little bit of time and effort and energy to get on there and really start to build those relationships. But just like anything, any other relationship, they do take time and they do take effort and they do take energy. So even if you block off a half an hour out of your week, twice a week, stick it on your calendar and just put down, use that as an opportunity to really engage with your network. Comment on the things that are on your timeline, ask questions, give feedback. That's really what's going to keep you actively engaged with people and keep those relationships growing, but it's also going to put you in front of your network's network. So as I'm engaging with people on LinkedIn, their network can see the engagement that I'm having with them. So it's a really great way to get in front of brand new audiences and build brand new relationships outside of your network, which is, somewhat like a referral because there's a trust component there because you know someone in their network. So make sure that you're engaging and really building those relationships out, even if it's just a half an hour or an hour a week. Secondly is personalizing things. In the world where robots are like highly abused, we're tired of the robocalls, right? I just saw an article this morning that said they're finally going to make robocalls illegal, thank goodness, because they're obnoxious, right? Nobody likes them. We don't like to be treated like just another number. And I think it's just a very lazy way to market is by sending out blanket messages, sending out redundant comments, really take some time to personalize those things, really put your own spin on it or your own personality on it. Make sure that you're speaking to those people directly because the only thing worse than not engaging with your audience is using very canned responses that aren't very genuine or authentic. And thirdly is building your network. So you should be actively building this network out. You can always be adding people to your network. LinkedIn will suggest people that may be in your network based on people who are already in your network. And you want to always be growing that. As you may know, if you've been in B2B for a while, you never know where the business could come from and what's going to really be your next great client. That could come from anywhere. So consistently building that network and growing that is going to allow you to reach and stay in front of a ton of people. And even if they're not the person who's going to do business with you, they may know someone else who will. And as long as you're putting good content out, you're engaging with people, those referrals will come. We have experienced it firsthand. Now, people ask me about content. Well, what should I share? What should be going out every week? What should I be putting in front of people? I think the first and most important thing is that it really reflects you as a professional and as a person. I'm a marketer and I love what we do from a marketing perspective. But I also have some values that have nothing to do with marketing. I love conscious capitalism. Anybody that has been to any of my events or heard me speak has heard me talk about it. Conscious capitalism and social entrepreneurship are hugely important to me. And I may be sharing content about those concepts and those ideas that have nothing to do with marketing, but what they do have something to do with is who I am as a person and what our organization represents. And if that's something that you find alignment in, you're really going to feel a closeness to me already because we have this shared value on something that's really important and meaningful. So sharing your content, 80% of that content really needs to be educational, entertaining, valuable to your consumer. If it's things that are about your values, like one of our values is conscious capitalism, really getting things out there that tell more about who you are and less about what you do, because as you know, people buy you first. So making sure that those things get out there first and then following that up with about 20% of sales or promotional messaging is okay. So 1 in every 5 messages can be about your product or service. But we really recommend that it's really not any more than that because it just starts to take the social aspect away from it and it starts to feel more salesy. So we really want to be focusing on building relationships here. And as you know, when you build the relationships, the sales come. The other thing I really want to touch on is video content. This has become the #1 form of content to help grow your business online by a long shot. I understand that not everybody likes to be on camera, and I'm not saying that you even necessarily have to be. You know, taking a short video of a project that you're working on, or a boomerang, or a slideshow, or something with some movement. We have just become very distractible, I guess I'll say. And that video content really nurtures what we're looking for in regards to, you know, moving things and sounds and lights. So, you know, your video content doesn't necessarily have to be you on camera. If you're one of those people that isn't comfortable on camera, that's okay, but there's other ways to create video content. Whether you're taking a video of a project you're working on, you know, a seminar that you're at, a boomerang or a slideshow, you know, there's other ways to do it, but we do highly recommend that you incorporate video content in the content that you're creating for your audience. And then we build a social sales strategy. So this is the fourth element to this, is how do we leverage all these things to really build our businesses? Because at the end of the day, it's about business, right? So we have to make things make money. But we want to do that in a way that's genuine and authentic and consumer focused and has integrity, because in today's day and age, where online reviews can sink a company in a week, we need to make sure that we are working with integrity and with authenticity, because if we're not, our audience is going to go online and they're going to share that information, and it will have a negative impact on our business. So we have to take that very seriously. So the first step is really building a community, and that's why it's important that you're authentic to who you are. Is you can't build a community that don't have the same beliefs that you have. You know, I believe in conscious capitalism, and I will carry that to my grave. You know, I'm going to spend my life pushing that agenda and helping that cause. But if you're someone who only cares about the bottom line, and you don't care about your people, and you don't care about your culture, and you don't care about your customer experience, you and I are not going to have a good working experience. And frankly, I'd rather you keep your money, because it's going to be such a negative experience for us both, because we're coming from such different worlds that it's never going to be fruitful anyway. I'd rather find people that have similar values and mindset as I do, and really build a community of people who are working towards the same goals and have the same vision in mind. It doesn't have to be identical, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it is going to be a community that really has shared values and a shared vision in mind. Then once you've built that community, and now you have people around you that really have that vision and share those values with you, you can start to establish yourself as a resource by really providing valuable content. Now, whether you are creating this content or curating this content, and curating content is just when you share other content. So maybe you shared a blog from entrepreneur.com or an article that you read on Forbes. It doesn't necessarily have to be something that you've written. It can be just really good content that you found and found valuable and shared, because this is also going to tell your audience what your values are and what you believe in. So establishing yourself as a resource is really important. You need to be able to exhibit your expertise, especially in the B2B world. They want to know that you really know what you're doing, because at the end of the day, a lot of our customers they've heard everything. Everyone says they have the next greatest this and the next best that, that's really going to get their business where it needs to go, but they don't have a lot to back it up. So we're going to go at this a completely 180-degree difference, where I'm going to show you my value first before I ever ask for your business. And you should be able to see that I really know what I'm doing, I'm good at what I do, and that if I should be doing it for you because we're of the same community, then we're going to know that. So we really help people to establish themselves as a resource, exhibit their expertise, and position themselves for the business. And finally, what we do is we really try to identify a need. You know, what is a big problem in this industry, and how can I help people? You know, one of the problems in our industry is a lot of people don't know what to do with their social media pages. They don't know how to manage their social media pages. So we've created some ebooks and some guides in how to build a social media strategy that really works for your business. And then we just give that away. You know, we give that away to people and say, hey, here's something that you can use, that you can go implement. I don't want any money for it. I don't need your business for it. You know, there's no trickaroos here. I just have a gift for you, and I hope that you find it valuable. If you do, let us know. You know, let us know what you found valuable. If you have any questions, let us know. If you didn't find it valuable at all and you thought it was a piece of trash, let us know and tell us your feedback, because this is about a relationship. You know, it's not about us just pushing things out. We truly want to know what you think about what we've created, because we're always looking to grow. And we find that when you start relationships that way, you know, when you start it with what I would call a give first mentality, which is how I try to live my life in general, and that's why it's creeped into my business, is we try to give first. So many people are constantly asking for people's money and time and attention. And when you come to them and say, no, 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 I don't want anything from you, I just want to give you something, it stands out, right? We're not used to that. We're used to people always asking us for something. But when you bring them something that's valuable, you bring them something that they can solve one of their problems with, this really starts to elevate you in their mind and build that nice solid foundation of that relationship. So we build those communities out. We help our clients establish themselves as a resource. And then we figure out, you know, what do their customers need and how can we create a micro solution to that problem, and then just give it away so that we start the relationship on the right foot. Now, this has been shockingly powerful. I will admit that even I was surprised by the results that we had, and I'm quite the overachiever. So anytime I'm surprised by success, it's pretty incredible. This is a 1-month case study. So this is 30 days of following the system. In these 30 days, we sent out over 1,100 connection requests to people who had similar values or were in similar industries that we were looking to connect with. Of those 1,100, in 30 days, we received over 400 new connections. Now, some of those continue to connect with us over time, because there's a little bit of a lag, because people are not necessarily daily users on LinkedIn. Some of them are more like a few times a week. So about 442 had connected with us over those 30 days. We received 88 total responses from people that we reached out to. And of those 88 responses, we had 35 new leads. And we produced those leads in 1 month. For this particular project, the value of them was about $70,000. And you know, everybody has different closing rates. You know, some people close 50%, some people close 75%. So, you know, it's hard to say exactly how much people can expect. But depending on what your closing rates are, by following a system like this, you can really generate not only a ton of new business, but really you can generate a ton of new relationships, a ton of new friendships. You know, maybe they're not going to sign up for your service, but maybe they have an event coming up that you could speak at. Or maybe they have a vendor that's really looking for what you offer. So although not all of these people turn into leads, many of them are turning into relationships, and those relationships can really, really provide value in the long run. So in my experience working in the B2B industry, I have never seen anything produce this number of pre-qualified leads in such a short period of time. This has definitely been the most successful thing I've ever run in this industry, and I'm really excited to continue to offer this to new businesses around the country. So I wanted to take a minute here and just open up for questions. So let me just unmute everybody really quickly because I mute everybody's lines. And if you have questions or comments or things that you would like to take a few minutes to discuss, I am open. No questions? All right, so then I'll just go through these last few things. Hopefully, I hope that you've found it valuable. Sometimes when I don't have any questions, I'm like, great, then I did an awesome job. Sometimes if I don't have any questions, I'm like, oh goodness, I hope I provided value there. So just to kind of show you some of the things that we offer, if this is something that you'd like to move forward with and you want help with. Now, some people prefer to do these types of things themselves, and that's totally fine. If you are someone that's looking for some additional help, one of the things that we do is we offer social selling for sales teams. So what we do is we customize this to the business, and we help the sales team really go out and leverage sales. We did this with a team a few months ago, and they have really generated a ton of sales each month by leveraging this. So we'll come into the organization and really customize an entire system and teach the sales team how to do this so that they can generate leads using LinkedIn. I had an awesome compliment from one of the sales representatives over at Juke Ordering Solutions, who found this to be more valuable than his 4-year degree in college. So they're already rocking and rolling, bringing in leads through LinkedIn, and seeing a tremendous return on their investment. In addition, we also run this program for a lot of our clients, and we just actually take care of the whole thing for them so that they don't have to worry about it. So on one hand, we have a smaller campaign that's really just going to build that community and start to engage with those people so that we can start to warm that pipeline up. And that is a program that's typically $14.99 a month. But if you're interested, let us know, and we will give you a discount for being on this training of $500 a month. And then our second campaign is a much more larger, comprehensive campaign that's really going to include a lot of retargeting and email marketing so that we can really nurture the people that we're building these relationships with, continue to provide value to them, and help move them through the pipeline. Because as you may know, there can be many steps to these types of sales processes. It's typically not something that people just make a rash decision on. It's something that they're going to think about and research and need to have conversations about. So it's a little bit more of a long game, but what we find is that it's much more effective because we're reaching people over and over again. So you will get an email as a follow-up, and there will be a few different pieces of information in there. One is a survey, and we really appreciate if you fill that survey out and give us your feedback. Like I said earlier, the most important to me is to be providing value. So I will send over a survey. If you can take a few minutes to fill that out, it would be very valuable to us. I'll also include more information on these campaigns and our training opportunities. So if that's something that you're interested in as well, you'll have information for those things too. So if there's no other questions, that is the end of today's training. But what I will do is I'll just open up the line one more time. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, we'll be following up with an email and would appreciate your feedback. And we really appreciate you tuning in with us today.
That was really good, Steph.
Thank you very much.
Yep. So I'm excited to fill that out and, keep in touch and keep an eye on what you guys are doing. That was really valuable. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm so glad. And we'll get you that information over. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, just let us know.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi, I didn't receive the initial link to the Zoom meeting, so I had it forwarded to me, and I actually entered joined the call late. Is there any way that you possibly could show the first slide again, or will this be sent out to us, or?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. Yeah, it went out through Eventbrite, but let me bring it back here. Do you know where you came in at?
Let's see. Let me verify that 1 second. So the first thing I saw was social sales strategy.
Okay. This one?
Yes.
So what I'll do for you is because that's like half of it, I think. What I'll do is I'll download this link and it'll be put up on our YouTube. It'll be a private link, so you won't be able to access it just by going to our channel, but I'll send
Okay.
you a private link
Okay.
and you can open it and review it from there. Will that work?
Yes, that will. I will appreciate that. Thank you.
Beautiful. And this is Phoenicia?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so I will get that sent out to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, comments, concerns, complaints? I take complaints too. No? Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in with us. I hope that you found this very valuable. Get out there and put it to work, because now is the time. I think there's going to be a lot of growth over the next year or so as B2B marketers really start to focus on LinkedIn. And we're happy to help you every step in the way. So stay tuned in. Thanks so much for logging in with us today, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye.